Radical.
Welcome to a very special edition of Radical Rapid Fire Comment Response. This is going to be something I've never tried. This is going to be a special edition where I reply to comments quickly, for the format, of course, Radical Rapid Fire, but these are all going to be comments centered on my upload a couple days ago. John Hancock soldier donated games to Sweden. A couple reasons I'm doing this. You know, if you're a regular here, I'm far behind on Radical Rapid Fire. And I just don't want to. I don't want to have to wait a year or however long it's going to take me to catch up to get to these comments. Because I feel like with all the feedback I've gotten, all the comments, there's almost 200 already on this. Yikes, that's a lot. With all the feedback I'm getting, I figure I want to just I just want to reply to a lot of these comments right now. So yeah, it's me being selfish. It's okay. I want to reply to a lot of these comments right now because it sucks being behind on these comment reply shows. And another thing is I was eating a delicious El Monterey burrito, but I got a little bit of a burn here, and I'll try to, I'm playing through some pain here, man. I got a bit of a burn and a little bit of a bite, because when I got burned by the burrito, I accidentally, just bit my lips. So I'm in some pain here. All right, I'm playing through the pain, but we're gonna get through this. And Radical Rapid Fire, sure. Some of you might say, "Well, Rick, this is a 30-minute upload, not too rapid fire, is it?" Well, you see, I'm gonna still keep these replies really short to these shorter comments. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think I'll do a special edition comment of the week that's for this, but I feel with this format, it's a little bit more open, so I can kind of have fun with this. All right, let's get into this. Rusty Mixer, glad you're exposing things after a decade, Rick. Well, I already left a comment here, but I just want to elaborate a little bit. I said I never stop my commentary, which often includes things like this. If you haven't been around, it's not my fault. I feel like this person and maybe some others are just making their way back around for some reason. And if you have an idea that this is the first time in a long time I've done any types of exposing, the definition meaning, of course, let's look up the specific definition of exposing here. To reveal the true, objectionable, sorry, I had trouble with that particular word here. Ow. Nature of someone or something. Example, he has been exposed as a liar and a traitor. All right, that's just an example that they put here. So you can expose a person or a company or something, someone. I've never stopped doing that. Never have I stopped doing that, even if it's retroactively in these comment reply shows talking about things from years ago. I've always been doing that. I do criticism, praise, humor. That's just part of my commentary bag. So again, if you're not here, if you haven't been here, it's not my fault. Ryan Oder, e-beggar. Okay. I said, indeed, yes, he is, but it's far beyond basic e-beggery here. You see, e-begging, taking donations from people, that is something that happens on YouTube all the time now. It used to not be that big of a deal. People used to call it out. But nowadays, 85-90% of established YouTubers are taking donations? So it's not like John's not an e-beggar. Anyone that's taking donations online, unless it's for charity purposes on YouTube, is currently e-begging. But this is more of like the e-scammery, all right? This is different levels, of course, Fluge Trine. With great humbleness comes no responsibility. Ah, yes. Feeling like I need to go read some Spider-Man comics. Love Spider-Man, one of my favorite Marvel characters, and that's where that comes from. It's just a different version of it. It's a humble version of that quote. Let's see. Norman Angel. I like The Last Gamer. He wasn't like these other guys. It didn't seem like it, at least. Someone else, well, I'll get to it here. I think that same comment is on here. Well, I mean, it's the thing about Last Gamer is there's even questions right now about like where he is, what he's doing, and everything. But definitely, even Last Gamer used to come here, and we talked about people he didn't really like in the Metal Jesus Rocks crew. So definitely, I personally, I never saw the Last Gamer as anybody that was, you know, like John or like MJR, not in the slightest. But people have been very critical of Last Gamer for separate things. Just putting that out there. But yeah, you're right. He's not. I don't think he's like John. Them. Desan, he's banking on the fact that his wife's diagnosis will stop a lot of people taking issue with his actions here. It was clear Scamcock was never doing the museum. I think he's just decided to cut and run at this point. Well, some people can say, they can bring it up, well, it's a strange time to bring up his wife's diagnosis during that upload, but that doesn't specifically mean in this case he's trying to deflect by bringing that up. Ivan pointed out that I was really happy to hear about that positive diagnosis. You know, it could be a coincidence. Maybe it's not a coincidence. But still, that's something that's just up in the air. And I often don't give people the benefit of the doubt. But in this case, I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. And again, just, you know, give my thumbs up that she is cancer-free. IGR. Not surprised. What trips me out is the dude still comes out on videos like all is good. Yes. I mean, that's one I won't reply to. But, you know, I just want to like put it out there. Hey, it's Humble Hancock here, you know. It's like there's not even like any self-awareness in the upload. Like he mentioned in the upload, I'm just adding my own thing here. This is not really a reply to your comment here. Just something that I noticed. There was no mention in the specific upload past that, you know, just talking about the contributors. But there should be a part at the end of that upload where he talks actually to the donators, right? I'd be pissed if I'm watching that and I'm one of the donators and he doesn't really directly address that and just bring it up. I think he should consider doing a follow-up to that, just talking to the donators. Cake battered. Why would anyone believe some dude would build a museum? When you come down to it like that, if you look past the fact that he has a giant game collection and he is the immortal one, you know, with all the powers of an immortal, I guess. Yeah, essentially he's just some dude. Right? You can make all these claims of what you're going to do, but he never really specifically went into the details about the game museum. That's the thing a lot of people point out through the years. Essentially, some dude, anyone can make claims that they're going to do something. Anyone can tell you, it's definitely going to happen, but there was never enough updates to his audience, and specifically his donators. There was never enough updates on that track. So essentially, it's just really some dude with a huge game collection. Left Control Gaming. I always knew he was full of shit. All he had to do was rent a store from a strip mall and open his museum. His YouTube channel would have paid the rent, and I'm sure people would have donated time helping out, but no, he's a greedy YouTuber. You could rent a store. You could do that. A strip mall? I don't know. It doesn't sound like a museum exactly. He's, you know, went to places and he's took a lot of his collection out to different conventions and things of that nature. But you can get a store, right? You can get a store, but that's different though, because we're talking about a museum. If he got a store and put his games in it, he could have made like a game store. He could have called it the John Hancock Game Store Museum. Technically, people could come in there. They could look at the games. They couldn't buy them, though. They would make offers. So, yeah, it's a little bit beyond, though, Left Control Gaming just renting a store in a strip mall. People were expecting an actual museum. Randall goes where? Who? I said to him, the world-famous Immortal One. That's who. Can't believe there's people on Earth that don't know who John Hancock is. Where are your priorities there? Randall goes, where? Turbine graphics. Parts of Sweden are below sea level. These games need to be scanned in ultra high quality, including individual pages of the manual and maybe 3D scanned, because I can see some disaster causing damage to some of them. Well, I brought up, oh my goodness, is underground. Look at Metal Jesus' leaky basement, right? If it's underground, this is kind of terrifying that it could be below sea level, right? Are you going to tell me that water's not going to get there to the underground bunker? Is it sealed from water? Yeah, I just didn't know that about Sweden. Of course, I don't know a whole lot about Sweden, but yeah, I would say if there's any archival, they should be doing that right now. They should be. Ultra high quality for duplications purposes. Yeah, good point there. Greater stuff. It's not all his to sell, bottom line. Last Gamer at least had the connections, financing, and product to make it happen. Hancock was a bum with some retro games. Sharp contrast between the two. You saw what Last Gamer had. You saw, and I think, honestly, there could have been some jealousy between these people. I can't recall a lot of the statements that they made, but believe me, there were people within circles that didn't like the fact, plainly, that Last Gamer had a lot of money. So if you have a lot of money, then you could do whatever you want to do. John Hancock really didn't have the kind of bankroll, from what I saw, that Last Gamer did. So to that point, it's one thing if you're talking about it, your connections, your financing. But yeah, completely true when you said it's not all his to sell. That is the bottom line. Because Greater Stuff said so. That is the bottom line here. If people donate a lot of their games to you, then I would look at them, if it was me, it's not my stuff to sell. It's I would at least have to let the people know, like, hey, I'm going to sell this. You want some of the money from this? There's another good point I'll bring up right now. Actually, if I do a final commentary on this, I'll include some things in the final commentary to kind of wrap all this up. I think I might do one more upload talking about all this. But this is, like I said, just a special edition for Right with Fire. Let's see. Shanana Timms. I don't see a danger of leakage so much as he is selling it to them, part of a business. As you mentioned with selling property and then getting different neighbors, what happens when Embracer Games elects a new CEO who doesn't care so much about game preservation? They'll be sold again. Yeah, it's current right now. It's current. Right now the CEO cares about game preservation, but how much of that is just to try to endear themselves to the gamers for good PR? What happens? What happens in the future? Right? It's not like there's it's not like a family business, like it's a lineage. If it was a family business going down through the generations, I think people would feel a little bit differently. Master System Marseille, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. It's such a horrible behavior. I met John at Siege Convention. We had a really nice conversation, took a picture together, and I thought he was a cool guy back then, but I can't condone this. Sorry, John, it's bad. I can't believe people are defending him in the comment section. Oh, we'll get to some of those people probably. Let's see. Adot Kane. So sad and utterly shocked that the John, give me your stuff so I can sell it while you feel bad for me, Hancock Museum never came to fruition. I think we're all shocked there. Let's see. Albo American. The humbly donated museum is now in an archive who will be viewed by Lars Winchford and Lars alone. A buttery smooth cash out. Yes, that's the most butter. That's the smoothest cash out I think you could ever have. Let's see. Jinx. At first I thought John was cool. However, over the years he struck me as someone who had to be the one with all the toys, not you. I think everybody should be able to play with toys if they want to, especially Legos. Yeah. Not going to mention my recent Lego upload, but they're charging $650 for some of those Lego sets. Is that for kids now? And that's for adults, man. P for area. That's a bit of a letdown considering he led people to think their games were going to his museum, not someone else's. Having said that, at least they went somewhere useful and not in a dump somewhere. All right. I mean, that's one of a couple comments that bring this up, that it's not the worst scenario here. I mean, going to a dump would be horrific. Hey, stop and think about how many rare old games wind up in a dump. Or just, rare old music, rare old movies. Anything that is hard to find. You shudder to think. Think about it. What if a copy of Snatcher right now is being thrown in the garbage? Oh, man, that's terrible, right? So at least they're going somewhere. They're not going to his museum, but they're going to someone else's underground bunker. You can't even call it a museum. It's an underground bunker. It's not open to the public. But yes, more useful than the dump. So we can put that in a thumbs up for the one positive here, is the stuff didn't go to the dump. Chain gun. You wait when times get tough, when they're forced to close that museum with all the stuff was spread out and auctioned off to private collections worldwide. It's not even going to be in a permanent home. Yeah, I don't think times are going to get tough with Embracer unless they make a lot of bad financial decisions. They have a lot of money, so that is another positive. They have tons of money right now, from what I checked and saw. But you have a good point, though. This stuff can be spread out a whole lot. A lot of it might wind up on eBay. Let's see here. Radical Rick is like a little crybaby. People are free to donate whenever they want to, whoever they blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's one of these comments. I'm not even going to go into my full reply, but basically said, you are like a little crybaby. Anyone is free to criticize anyone for the things they do, and if someone like John purposefully led people on with promises for years that their donated games were going to his game museum in the U.S., well, what's the problem with criticizing that? Not a damn thing. There's no problem with criticizing people for the things they do. And I've not shed one tear about it. So how am I a crybaby for just bringing this up and giving my opinion on it? Let's see. Sneaky V. I wonder if he's going to get banned from attending Portland Retro Gaming Expo for this. Surely the convention who keeps propping up a con artist like John should take issue with this. Well, I mean, the thing about it is, I don't think a lot of people see this as a con. They don't. They don't see it as a scam. And I don't think this is kind of be the thing that, like, I don't think Portland is going to say to you, hey, because you sent a lot of donated games to Sweden, you're not going to be able to attend. No, I just don't think that. I don't feel like that's the case here. Matthew Norton, does he still love Sega? Well, I mean, you can still love Sega or Nintendo. I'm not going to question the man's love of Sega. I didn't know he deeply, deeply loved Sega. But you can still love Sega, play their games. You don't have to have the technical copies. But you bring it up, do you love Sega? If you had a complete Sega collection, I don't know. Like, if you donate it or sell it, I guess you love the money more than the collection, right? Gamers Addict Show. Wow, hearing this is disappointing. I've been watching John for years. I'm curious to hear what he has to say about this. I said, full transparency after criticism has never been his strong suit. There's a history of this. But like I said, a follow-up would be much appreciated to a lot of his audience and donators to that upload, the update. Let's see. SLM. If you're stupid enough to give away your games, don't be mad when they get sold. You gave them away. Well, that's a thought right there. Just don't give your games away. Don't donate your games. But, well, in this instance, though, you see SLM, people didn't just give their games away to John. They donated their games to John because they thought they were going to be in a nice John Hancock museum. That was the idea that was sold to people. Thorne Spry. Damn, I watched him about a decade ago. I thought he was a good bloke. Sad. Well, I brought this up. I hope I brought this up in my upload, or at least I did in the comment section replying to some people, is there can be dualities to people. I don't think there's, I mean, some cases, yeah, there's just really, really good people and really, really bad people. But people sometimes will just put people in categories of like good and bad. But the reality is when it comes to certain things, people can be bad. When it comes to their game collections and even people going out and trying to lowball people to get video games and people trying to trade some games for other games they know that are more valuable. Phoenix Resale might be one person that I point out to here. There can be bad people that do bad things when it comes to certain things, but they can also be fine, upstanding citizens. They could be wonderful family man type people. You know, they could be wonderful to their family, their friends. And I think it might be more of a duality to where, you know, if you met John and you didn't know about this stuff, he might be the nicest, sweetest person you ever met, right? But in my personal experience in life, I've met some people that I heard things about later, and I'm like, damn, I couldn't really believe that. That's not the person I knew. So many times we just try, well, okay, radical rapid fire. If this were a long comment show, I would go further onto that. Let's see here. And this is a longer comment, but I'll just go over just the bullet points of this. Week L Will KI000. Hey there, some key details that are important to be aware of. The vast majority of John's collection was bought and paid for by himself personally. Also, he offered to return any items that were donated to him. I know this for a fact because I know John personally, and he offered to return anything I donated to him if he wanted to. Okay, well, I'm not going to claim that this person doesn't know John personally, but my reply was simply, with all due respect, I and others have been covering John for years, and there is much more under his kind and humble surface concerning the game side of things. And I went into what I talked to a minute ago. I said he could be quite pleasant in person and a great family man to boot, you know, but there's different aspects that are a bit shady. Then Anthony Matterford, Penguin Wizard, left replies. So there's no doubt if you know John personally, then you might know a lot more than other people in certain aspects. But I mean, me and others have been covering this side of things or just talking about it for several years. So yeah, but again, you know, with all due respect, all right. The Immortal Traz. As someone who's trying to break into this space and who shares a title with this clown, I appreciate the passion of the people, but don't donate your games to anyone. If I can't manage my business well enough to buy your collection, I'm sure not going to be able to manage a museum. I just said, preach. If you got a guy that can't afford to buy your games from you, think about it. How the hell are they going to be able to ever get the money or have the means and have the connections to make a John Hancock museum? I don't think that point has ever been brought up ever in any of the comments I've ever gotten about John. So preach. Man, that is a big thumbs up because, yeah, think about it. If somebody needs donations for a museum, then they're not probably going to make a museum. If they can't afford to buy this stuff, gosh, so simple. Just beautiful, though. Chef's kiss on that. Miguel Panty. Why the funk do people donate shit to YouTubers? How stupid can you be? Why the hell would I donate to someone who's already has every video game in his own collection? Yeah. Why? I've asked this question, and I started asking for years, and people said that I was just a hater, a troll, but it didn't make sense to me. It never has made sense to me. And as time goes on, I still don't even know why people do it. Why do you donate all this money and all these games to YouTubers? Not people you know in real life. Complete fucking strangers you'll never probably meet. Why? Well, because they have well-made videos, I guess. I say this, and knowing there's probably some of my own audience that would be like, I like that Radical Rick, you know? I'm going to donate some games to him. I just, again, like if you want to donate games to me, I don't have a P.O. box. I would say don't be silly. Just get money for him. The Cybernator, UK. I think I called this on one of your videos in 2017 or 2018 and said he will not donate his collection. It's essentially giving it away, and he wouldn't spend all that money and give it away. Right. It would make sense back then that he would donate it. And donate it for the museum purposes? No. All that? Nah. And as years went on and on and on and on and on, it was more obvious that this was eventually, the cash out was eventually going to be what was going to happen. That's the end goal of all this. Otherwise, guess what? You know what would probably happen? The museum would have, or whatever would have happened early, and he would have redirected and said like, hey, you know, this is where you need to send them. The museum's run by these people. Go ahead and send them right there. But no, he was the middleman, right? It's like people that take donations to then give it to a charity or something like that. All right, that's nice. A lot of YouTubers do that, and I applaud that. But why does it got to go to you to get to them? Right. Matt79. I'm not sure I understand what any of this is or why this was recommended to me. This is the most hateful content and comment section since I accidentally visited a CNN video. So you visited a CNN video, and somehow I was recommended. It's kind of strange. I don't think I have much in common with, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and all that kind of stuff, right? I said the Swedish Muppets chef made the hateful. Sorry, I can't do the Swedish chefs. Maybe if I tried, I could. Yikes, you're probably offended by Sesame Street characters. Sack up there, bucko. Like, if you're offended, if this is seen as hateful content and you're offended by me, what kind of fantasy safe space do you live in? Do you live on Sesame Street? Every day, chasing the clouds away. It's Matt. Alderoth. Holy crap, that's scummy. Like, that's really scummy. CC Trout. Right now at this point, I just kind of want to get through this, so I'm, if I don't reply to some of these comments, that's okay. I don't want this thing to be 2 hours. CC Trout. Remember that one guy who donated his video game collection to Hancock? When he inquired about what was going on with the games he donated to Hancock, he said he threw them out. This is something I distinctly remember. And somebody else followed up, said, yes, after sending demands for packing the donated games as well as a myriad of pictures. And then Rumamba says, I remember that too. He lied and said they were worthless. See, this is the other side of it. And I can't personally verify this, just putting this out there, right? And a lot of this is hearsay, okay? But there's a lot of hearsay, and man, I got a lot of comments through the years. Where there's smoke, there's a little bit of fire, is what I'm saying. But if this was true, if this was all true, well, that's just showing you that other side that I was talking about, right? That's really brutal, though, because when people get into this mindset, right? If you're into that mindset, then it's no longer about the people. You're focusing just on the games. And you're talking about a whole video game collection? And somebody inquired about the games? Because, if you send a whole game collection, I would want to know, so what's going on with the museum, right? I sent you my whole game collection here. I was thinking that would go to a museum, people could visit it, and then I might get a credit or something, But the fact that he said he threw them out, you damn well know they weren't worthless and he didn't throw them out. At the very least, Johnny Hancock took him to a GameStop or some kind of local retro store or did a trade, I don't think there's any way, unless they're all sports games, John threw out video games. All right. So if he said that, which again, I heard from a lot of people, doesn't mean it's 100% true. If that's true, then that's very damning. Oh, this was an interesting one. And this one had a weird ending to it. Ryan Michael says, bruh, you got 6K subscribers and a ripped off name, find a new angle. Now, I tried to figure out why this person was angry at me, because it seemed like anger. Or, it might have been doing, I don't know what he was doing. But he kept talking about Radical Reggie for some reason, and that whole fun right there. And I've heard that for years, right? And it's it's not just because there's so many differences between me, the content, the channel, and Radical Reggie. There's so many differences. It might as well be saying I ripped it off of Radical Rick, there's a BMX biker. But the truth of that is I've always liked the word radical. I thought it fit with Rick. And this 2016, I had to come up with something. There was a lot of other R words. I just went through R words. I said, hey, Radical Rick has a nice angle, has a nice sound to it. I love the Ninja Turtles. I love Michelangelo. Let's get radical. That was a catchphrase, right? When I created the channel, I didn't even know who the fuck Radical Reggie was. But here, people keep saying I'm ripping off Radical Reggie. I'm ripping off Radical Reggie. How exactly am I ripping off Radical Reggie? If you go to Radical Reggie's channel, and you could point to any similarities whatsoever, please do let me know. At the end, though, this person says, they said they're my brother in Christ and they're entertaining yourself. Okay. Well, far be it from me to stop you from entertaining yourself however you want to. So no ill will, you're not angry at me, fine. But I did correct some of your stupid comments. So we'll just leave it at that. I correct stupidity in the comment section. If you leave a stupid comment, not always, but I try to help and correct you, but I can't correct all stupid people. But if I have time, sometimes I try. It's just me giving back and helping people maybe not be as stupid. Penguin Wizard. Oh yeah, Penguin said, hey, go get 6K subs yourself if you think it's that so easy. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. When it comes to subs, I don't really care or think about it a whole lot. It's just a crapshoot, man. Some people get a lot of subscribers, some people don't. Some people would love to be where I am and be a partner and have over 6K subscribers. Some people say, hey, man, I can't believe you don't have more subscribers. Man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed in life, so this YouTube thing is not something that I really stress about a whole lot. One day if I saw that I had like 1 million subscribers, it is what it is, man. Like I don't care about it in that level. I just like crafting uploads, man. Next one. Whew. Gang, I don't have any water nearby me. Damn, this is going long, man. My mouth is feeling like a little bit better, but damn, that was a bad El Monterey burn. Not the fault of the makers of the delicious El Monterey burrito. That was me. And it says on the package, let it cool for a little bit. This is my fault. All Day Dreamer. I actually tried to donate 240 to 260 box to Mega Games to The Last Gamer, and he said he didn't want them, that he felt he was taking advantage of the public. They're probably worth 50 plus each, some 75. That's a good bit. $12,500 is probably that. What did I reply to them? I said, you should never donate to YouTubers. Keep the games yourself or sell them and help yourself out, brother. Yes. Never donate to YouTubers unless it is towards a charity. All right? Help yourself. Help yourself, brothers. Brothers and sisters, help yourself. Yeah. That's a lot of stuff, though. Now, sometimes people don't know that they can get money for these games. Sometimes people think, well, I wouldn't even know where to go to turn in stuff. Local game stores, man. Find a local game store. At the worst, they're probably going to be able to trade stuff with you at the worst. Like, I got a store on the weekend selling various stuff, and sometimes people come to me and they'll trade their games for, lots of movies or music CDs or something like that. So there's always people out there. Even if you can't sell the stuff, trade. Or, if you got a family member. But never, ever donate to YouTubers. That's the last thing you should do. Red Syrup. Never donate your items to a museum with expectations they'll keep and preserve your stuff for generations to come. Instead, they might keep one or two items and then sell everything else you donate. Well, it's always a possibility. Even if you have a legit museum, it's always a possibility. You pretty much, once something leaves you, the closest guarantee you can have to it being saved and preserved is sending it down the line in your family. And even then, once you've left this earth, I don't know, like, do you care about this stuff once you've left the earth? Are you going to be up in the sky looking down to like your little nephew going, son of a bitch, you sold the Neo Geo. We was going to keep the Neo Geo in our collection for generations. So there's no guarantee, but sending your games to Sweden to a company that's going to keep it in an underground bunker, huh? That's that's something right there. Sebastian Anderson, the archive buys games for sure. Another, I know Dave the CEO. He is a YouTuber and a great guy. He has said that he wants to have tours around the archive in the future. Then I said he does seem all right. I personally take no issues with him. It's rather John's actions. And then there's something in Swedish somebody left me. I don't know if it's good or bad. Oh, I can translate it right now. Let's see. Show this video to David. I bet he would find it funny to be compared to Angry Video Game Nerd. All right, maybe he's nothing like Angry Video Game Nerd. So I submit my ignorance on this person and his channel. I didn't get a lot of time to check out his channel. But, yeah, man, like, that's one of the things to where, like, I don't really know. But from the little bit I saw, he seems all right. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that, saw Hancock and just seemed like he was all right. You don't really know unless you know somebody personally. I hope the actions of the Swedish company, have good intentions. I do. But, I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, it's in Sweden, man. Like, it's not even in the States. So your games were sent over there to Sweden and they're in a vault. Even if those people there have the best intentions, you know who pays their bills? Yeah. Even though he's a CEO, right? I don't know. I just don't know the whole structure there. Yeah, he's a CEO there, but also Embracer's in charge, right? So yeah, nothing against Dave, the CEO. Just want to put that out there. Paul? Just Paul K. Also, he said it would never leave the USA. Now, I personally never recalled that. I never recalled that little nugget. But I'm not saying he didn't say that. Do a lot of you remember if he said specifically it would never ever leave the USA? And even if it did leave the USA, again, I would leave a message to a lot of the donators, especially the big ones, that, hey, the humble games you donated, they're going over to Sweden. Hydrostorm, it being in Sweden is problem number one, but the issue I have is it's a for-profit company that will get them. The moment they need to trim the fat, or it doesn't turn a profit, it's getting shut down and the games will go AWOL after. I said, off to eBay they may go. Let's see here. Unirock, Embracer isn't passionate. Maybe they're passionate in Embracer Games Archive, possibly. Maybe Dave the CEO isn't passionate. But again, Embracer themselves, a lot of people take issue with Embracer. eSpace Maxim, I applaud the decision. This is about preservation, and the U.S. is not a safe place anymore at this point. I said there's an argument that the donated games are possibly safer underground in Sweden, but the people who donated ever believe that's what happened, where they would go. And I said, heck no, they didn't think they would wind up ultimately in Sweden. So there's an argument here that if you care about preservation, then you want something underground vault bunker Okay, well, there's an argument there for safety. There is. I'm not going to lie. I mean, what's safer you think about than an underground vault? Maybe Fort Knox? Fenris Wolf Starch. I saw the pronouns in Hancock's bio enough for me. Is it he, him, or she, her? Or is it them or they? I don't know. Pronouns, that's an interesting thing, right? I'm not even going to open that bag of fun right there. But pronouns, we don't need no stinking pronouns. There's male and there's female. That's seems simple enough to me there, guys and gals. And whatever the GameStop thing was that went in there and was angry and knocking over displays in 2019. I don't know what you call that. John McCown. This is really going to be almost an hour. I'm not going to split up in separates. No, we're doing this. It is still technically Radical Rapid Fire because it's fast replies to comments. I'm 54 and retired and have never asked anyone for anything. John would make content making you feel bad for him, and people would send him games. Best nation in the world, donation. You're right, America. Best nation in the world, donation. Yeah, man. Like, it says a lot that you've made it to that point in your life. You're 54, you're retired, and you never ask anyone for anything. That's something right there. I can't say I've never asked anyone for anything. I think we've all gotten some kind of a help, even if like we hurt a leg and we need some help getting up and everything. You're talking about, I think you're talking about asking for big help, from somebody, So that is, I applaud you there, sir. So many people that are coming up right now, they see the way things are on YouTube specifically. They see Twitch, they see donation culture, and they're looking for free handouts. And that's what's sad about generations coming up. Matt Mania. After following this situation on your channel over a few years, I'm not at all surprised. Can't stand that dude. At this point, I'm just going through every comment. Why the hell not? This is a marathon. It's a rapid fire marathon. Spartan. If it was really going to be in a museum, every donated game would be had the name of who donated it in the file, so thanks could be given when displayed or returned to them if the museum didn't happen. This is the second big thumbs up I'm giving. The first was on where I said preach to one person. This is something that's never been brought up. If there was a system where you get the donation and you file it, do I think there was a filing system when he was getting all those donations of video games? Now, granted, he might say, listen, I'm getting so many donated games. There's just mountains here. Like, I'm about to like have them fall on me at one point. I'm going swimming around into donating games. So you might say it's near impossible. Well, you shouldn't be getting the donations if at the very least you don't have a book and you are documenting the names of the people so you can put their names to the game. Put the names to the games. Yeah. I wish I could go further on that, but Radical Rapid Fire. What the Fost? This is freaking hilarious. What a guy. What a pal. All about the positivity, baby. No thanks, no thanks. He's a grifter, just like the OG retro game streamers. You should talk about Wood beat 'em ups, the King of Kings in the Grift. What a POS. Well, one day, possibly, I might talk about this. Who did you say? Wood beat 'em ups? Maybe one day we'll get around to that. Crazy Carl's Adventures. That museum will never get made. He's been telling this lie for 10 years. Man, like, after so long, has it really been 10 years he's been telling the lie? Well, I've been telling the lie before I can't document how long it's been. But man, that's a long con there. If it's 10 years, dude. Earth Guardian. This would have been made solvent years ago if he had the money to buy or rent a building. Again, a good point. Let's see. This somebody brings up annual operating cost, how high they are. Four Dogs Gaming. There was talk about 8 or 9 years ago from the last gamer that someone from Sweden wanted to buy his collection. Wonder if it was this place. He hadn't posted in a couple of years now, and people have been speculating that he did sell his collection. That's why he stopped posting. Well, I can't tell you a lot about the details of Last Gamer and what happened to his collection, but I did hear he sold a lot of his collection off. That's what I recall. But yeah, if it's in Sweden, it's got to be these guys, right? What's the odds that there's another Swedish company with an underground vault? Man, Embracer would be pissed if they have a competition on the next block. And I can't really do a Swedish accent. You know, I just get two people coming out of their vaults and bunkers that are like chefs from the Muppets. They're just having a fight. You know, imagine two of those underground vaults within a couple blocks of each other. Then one would make the deal and go like, listen, okay, we'll offer you money for your games. And no, we'll offer you money for your games. File. I'm sorry, but if I donate anything on the basis of what was promised to it now being held in Sweden by Embracer of all people, I'd be pissed. There was absolutely better and fairer options out there. And granted, John did talk in his upload about lots of different options. This was Plan D. Plan D. Well, how about this? Maybe there could have been a Plan E and F and G. You still had letters to go through. Did we have to, finish with D? Rune Mamba, the donation they're referencing isn't even a real donation. It came from another one of Embracer's subsidiaries. Laugh out loud. Okay, so you're referencing where I referenced one of the donations. So it wasn't even from a John or a Jack or a Billy, a person. It came from a subsidiary. That's a great point. And you said shuffling around their assets there. Master C. Welch, that's crazy. I never did follow much on the museum. I thought it was attached to the Video Game Foundation here in the U.S. This means they're being sealed away in a vault for preservation purposes only. Let's see here. And there's a follow-up. He said he doesn't want to bust balls. It's okay, It's amazing to amass such a set just to pass it off to a foreign corporation. Yep. It is. Now you see him kind of winding down. Oh, man. Whew, this is a marathon. Pretty soon I'm going to, start asking for donations because, it's a marathon. Hey, I'm going to play Five Nights at Freddy for 8 hours. Give me some money. Bits 8232 bits. Used to be Blitz, didn't it? Now it's Bits. I recall this person. Honestly, if you were stupid enough to believe that Scamcock had a humble intentions, I got a Nigerian prince with a once-in-a-lifetime offer for you, and I guarantee that the Amazon, the Geek Squad, and the Microsoft all have refunds for you. Just call up my Indian buddy, and he promises he'll take care of you. That sounds legit. On the level right there. You said the Geek Squad too? Ooh. Free computer from the Geek Squad from Best Buy? Laugh Out Loud, Cow TV. He and Moocher Jeeba sucks, grifting e-beggars. Bleh. P-Arbs. Let me check and make sure the recording's still recording. Only take a moment. Yep, we're still good. I just want to make sure we're still recording. Now, I imagine wasting a lot of time on here. Sometimes my phone will, it won't stop on itself, but if I accidentally brush up against it, I use a recording on my recorder on my phone, and I'm always looking at it, or I try to, because in the past I've had long commentaries. I'm so pissed if I see that it stopped at 5 or 6 minutes in. Parp says, I never take issue with someone selling their collection, but for him to accept so many donations over the years under the guise of a museum and then sell them off overseas to a vault is straight up disgusting. You had several replies on that. Somebody said, the way Embracer is going, that museum won't last to 2030. Toast and Stardom, I think most logical thinking people were assuming the entire collection would be sold off to fund a journey past retirement age, which seems pretty close to the result. Now, Miami, here we come, baby. Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that. This is going to be basically the retirement fund. Just think about that. Just really think about that for a second. Retirement fund, right? Is it around time for him to get to retirement age? A lot of people, they'll actually, they'll have these retirement funds that they set up. Imagine, though, if you just get on YouTube and you start building up a lie of a game museum. Yeah, man. Then you cash out and you got all this money. Go to Miami. Hey, man, there you go. Dumez. Radical Rick, this is even worse than you might have thought. Of another point he is not brought up. These are NTSC versions, the premium best versions of these games, the power versions, that horrible 50 frame seconds. So the North American versions are always the best. Yeah, is that true? Where the North American versions are always seen as the most sought after? It's no doubt that Sweden would want the North American versions. Yeah. Blue-Eyed Devil. An amazing multi-year investigation that produced a mountain of evidence conducted by a good Samaritan who has earned the reputation of being the guardian of the video game community. I know who we're talking about, right? And they said they were talking about me, and I said I wouldn't say that. I've always just shared my thoughts on various things, gaming one of them. So I want to put it out there that I never tried or was trying to be a guardian of the video game community. I just have always had an interest in video games, as along with a lot of other things. And I got on here, started talking about video games, and I did a couple critical satires, I think, about Review Tech USA, just out of fun, just to kind of try things out. And people started sending me this and that, and hey, you need to talk about Angry Joe. Hey, you need to talk about Alpha Mega Sin. And it just kind of, became something. And I became pretty good at doing that. When you say investigation, I got to be honest here. I'm not going to pat myself on the back for multi-year investigations. It's mostly been me talking about things that I've seen and noticed. And maybe you could classify that as an investigation, YouTube investigator. I don't know. But I just want to just shut this down real quick when people tell me that I'm the guardian of the video game community. Nah, I'm not a guardian. I'm just a guy that enjoys commentary and talking about things, man. All right, but I appreciate it. But just because I talk about things doesn't mean I'm any kind of a guardian or anything like that. It's just me talking about stuff as I've always done. Rich Melcher, Radical Rick, you forgot to mention a huge tax break that John Hancock is going to receive from donating the other 40%. That's a good point. The donating tax break, I said I didn't forget, it was considered, but time constraints. And somebody got really angry about that, I guess. Wolf something said, put some breath protection on the mic, you 2 IQ redneck. We should not be forced to listen to your every wheeze. Well, heavens. Someone is pissed off about a little bit of extra breath. I look at it positively. It's built-in ASMR, right? So you're getting free heavy breath ASMR. There's some channels based on heavy breathing, right? Review Tech USA has his ASMR channel, right? So I feel you're getting extra Radical Rick. If there's extra breath and extra stuff, you're getting extra. I don't think I never wheezed. Do I sound like a redneck to you, Wolfie? Is that how you want me to sound? I can sound like a redneck. I can sound like a lot of things. Yeah, man. Like, I said, you assume I'm using a high-dollar mic and not a Motorola. I'm using a cheap Motorola, man. I can afford a high-dollar mic, but I use a Motorola because it's convenient. I can record wherever I'm at. I can record, in the car, outside walking, taking a dump. I don't need to be at a desk. I don't need to get all my stuff together and get all professional for making the YouTube uploads. Nah, man. I like just being around recording, and it just so happens that my Motorola has some mic issues. I'm trying to figure out what that is. And bear with me, right? I'm still uploading, and I've mentioned that I'm going to try to figure out what it is. Maybe there's some software I can download to actually take some of the extra popping and hissing and stuff out. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. But yeah, I think you should just be happy that you're here, man. Be happy that you're here experiencing some of the best commentary you'll probably experience today on YouTube. How about that? Yeah. Nothing further. Just be happy you're here. I am Mark Smith. This is what they call the Muppet Show. Not enough people commented on the fact that I had the funny Swedish Muppet on the thumbnail. And even the accompanying not Sesame Street, the accompanying Muppet outro. That was a last minute touch. Hey, Muppet Chef's Kiss, I think. It came out very well, everything. Because I tried to look up Swedish stuff. I don't know much about Sweden, admittedly. But when I looked up Swedish, the Muppet Swedish Chef came up. I was like, it's going to be perfect. I'm going to use that. I don't even know any famous Swedish people. How bad is that? Shapirate. The whole clan are all cancers to the gaming community. At least Joe Santulli created a road museum. Never heard of Joe Santulli, but a lot of people do view Metal Jesus, John Hancock, lesser extent Radical Reggie. They view that whole crew as cancers to the retro gaming community. And it's not just me saying that. There's a lot of people. And it's not just because people are jealous of their big game collections. There's a lot of people, even from the basement tour. No, I mean the bus tour, $50,000 bus tour, the basement leak. It's people that have an idea when at least maybe nowadays. I don't keep up with them nowadays as much, but at least back 5 or so years ago, it's more about profit to them than the actual gaming community. It's more or less the money over the passion for gaming. And the Gamer Comedian, who, again, without the Gamer Comedian, this upload wouldn't have been possible because I'm not notified of John Hancock uploads. So, yeah, Gamer Comedian, because of him, it brought about this upload and the other ones. So, again, thank you, Gamer Comedian. The Immoral John Hand Sock here, reminding you the show continues after giving away the collection. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Let's keep it positive. I haven't checked out his channel, but that's probably something on his channel. Maybe I should go check it out. Actually, I'm seeing here, yes, he has some uploads about John Hancock. So just give you a bit of shout out there and everything. I might swing by there too sometime when I get some time. Arioka. It's in a bunker ready for the apocalypse in a post-World War III when nuclear nukes destroyed everything, including electricity, and only a few cockroaches and insects might survive. Make it make sense. Well, the important thing is the games will be fine. Okay? The important thing is the boxed altered beast is going to be fine. Except when the roaches get in that bunker and start roaching all over them and everything like that. Yeah, that's a wild comment. I didn't expect that. It was wild. Titanium bricks. No, those games belonged in a museum. A humble museum. Let's see. Bartholomew. Oh, what a dick. Not so hardcore. Just fishing for another reason to pin it on anyone else. Will's VG addiction. John Hancock does not give anything to anyone. He only takes. He's more than happy to sell, though. Well, listen. All right. I heard he gave someone VD. Listen, I didn't hear that. I'm just putting that. This is just me being funny. Not even that funny, but I could have went a joke there. Gosh, I wish that was a situation where someone actually did give someone VD, and then it would be funny. Let's see. Are we down to one more comment? We're down to the last comment. We did it, everybody. We made it through it. Well, I made it through it, and if you listen to this, you made it through it too. AJT Comics brand, humble. That's the word of the day. Sesame Street word of the day. Humble. What is the definition for humble? To finish this off, I already looked up exposing, which again, exposing was, you know what exposing is. Humble. When I do a search on Google, you won't believe it. John Hancock Museum comes up. Actually, that's not the search that comes up. Wouldn't it be crazy, though, if you type in humble and then his picture comes up on Google image search? Humble refers to having a modest, respectful, and unpretentious view of oneself, often characterized by a lack of arrogance or self-importance. It describes someone who does not brag about accomplishments and may also indicate low rank, status, or simple. A humble person possesses a realistic understanding of their own strengths and weaknesses without needing to prove superiority. He is the actual, legit, 100% blatant opposite of humble. A word he uses a lot. I mean, that's the definition right here. What kind of humble person calls themselves immortal? What kind of humble person has goals of having their own game museum? You cannot make this up. I tell you what I gotta do here. I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm tired. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, to the first special edition of Radical Rapid Fire Combat Response. I'm just kidding. I'm not tired. I got energy. I could go and let's do another hour.